This is Ghoulish, and I am Max Booth, and today we'll talking about YouTube channels and reviewing movies on such YouTube channels. And today on the show, I brought in a professional YouTubeist, which I assume is the name, Adam Cesare, who has written many novels, great novels like Video Night, The Seminole Job, Milsey House, and other ones I can't think of off the top of my head. But, you've written quite a few books, Adam.
Yeah, I've written a bunch of books, and I mean, you got to the big ones. Exponential, First One You Expect.
Well,
I'm Adam Cesare. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, thank you for coming on, Adam. Thank you. Now, you run as you put it in the bio you sent me, the most successful YouTube channel on the internet.
Probably not the most successful, but I'm very happy and I'm very pleased with how things have been going so far. It kind of started as not really a joke, but just something where I was like, you know what, like I need a reason to talk about the movies I'm buying and the books I'm reading. So why don't I just see if this gets any traction? And then a little while later, I guess I've been doing it for like 2 years, but I've only been doing it for, I feel like, a year, staying regular with it. But I'm happy with it so far. I'm happy with how it's gone and how the show's.
I meant to write this down, but I did not. But you have between like 5,000 to 6,000 subscribers, right?
Yeah, I passed 5,000, I guess, a month or two ago, and it's so weird how that it doesn't always 100%. It doesn't 100% like scale with like views. Do you know what I mean? Like you're a Twitter guy. So you know how it's like, yo, I got a follower spike, and you don't see that much of a difference in engagement. But it's nice. It's nice to be able to like send out to people and be like, oh, I've got 5,000 subscribers. It's like, some videos do really well, and I guess it really depends on the videos. Like some videos do really well. I've got like stuff with like 40,000 something views, and for like an average new release movie, I'll get a few thousand views, and then sometimes I'll do a video that'll just tank, but it's clear that I did the video because I wanted to do it, and doesn't necessarily hook up with like the algorithms and stuff like that. But even with the videos that don't do as well, I get a lot of nice comments, and I get people engaged and people enjoying me talking about things that I enjoy. So,
well, what do you think is like? What are the most popular videos you've done? I took a quick scan last night, and most of them will seem to be book recommendations, which surprised me.
Yeah, the book videos are the ones that do the best, which is funny because you'd figure like, oh, well, so many more people are into movies than are into books. But I think it's probably a mix of the quote unquote booktube audience. I think what's interesting about YouTube, and this is what's interesting and what I've been learning, when I've been on this kind of several year journey now of trying to start this thing, but like there's YouTube is similar to Twitter and similar to Facebook and similar to a lot of the social media things, in that they're kind of circles. And on YouTube, like booktube is a very kind of codified way of making videos. People like do weekly updates, and they're like, here's what I'm reading. Here's my book haul for this month. And they like go through all the books they bought or got sent as ARCs from publishers. Here are my top 5, YA novelists with a protagonist who is, fighting an unjust government, which is, 90% of YA books, I guess. But
Yeah.
but do you know what I mean? Like they'll do kind of those kinds of things, and I think the videos I have that have done the best, and have kind of gotten caught in the like YouTube search and recommendation cycle the most are like, oh, here are my top 5 horror movie, or here are my top 5 horror books that aren't movies yet, or here are my top 5 horror books for the summer, or here are my top 5 horror books for Halloween. Like I'll do listicles occasionally because I know people enjoy them. And I also like I haven't done one in a little while. I haven't done one in probably like 6 or 7 months, and I'm getting the feeling like I should think of a theme and I should do another one. But those are the ones that do the best, which in this kind of movie centric world and movie centric fandom, if you're talking horror on Twitter, it's 99% people are talking about movies. Same with Facebook, but I think what's interesting about YouTube is there's a real niche there, and that's where people are talking about books more, which I think is probably like from an outsider's perspective, is probably what people would have prejudices against YouTube. It's like, oh well, they're not reading books, they're just watching people, play video games or what YouTube is, to some people. But it has this very vibrant book community, that I've been lucky enough to be a small part of. Because my channel's also, I mean, for better and worse, my channel's not really a booktube channel, even though I with every movie review we've said that I talk about movies, but every video I do has a book recommendation in it because I'm an author and I read a lot and I get sent a lot of books, and I'm just a genre fan. So that's kind of the main point of the channel, is to be like, let's merge horror fandoms, like horror movies and horror books. Like, let's make it the same thing. It shouldn't be two different conversations, I don't think.
Yeah, I feel like that's always the way I'm able to recommend books to folks who don't usually read that much. It's great to lead them in by talking about movies, and then you hit them with like a gut punch, like, if you like this movie, you would love this book too.
Yeah, I mean, you're a fairly prolific author yourself. I don't know. Do you go to cons and stuff? I know you
Yeah,
sell
yeah.
it. I've seen you, set it up in tents and stuff like that. I've seen pictures of you. But like that's such an easy way in, I feel like, especially if you go to like a horror con specifically. People come up to the table and they'll be wearing horror movie shirts, and I think it's important to be able to like bridge that gap with like, oh, if you like, you know, uh, if you oh, you're wearing a Blood on Satan's Claw shirt, like I've got a folk horror novel here just for you, like, and then I hand them like the summer job. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's a shorthand and it's a quick way in. Um,
Right. I mean, like online, especially on Facebook and the lit community, I see a lot of people like kind of frowning on like comparing a novel to a movie. But that is the best way to get into a non-readable, is by engaging that interest with something they already like and love. And, I mean, now they want to read a book because they love that movie.
and I think like a lot of like the case a lot of the times, and I think, no, I mean, all due respect to our peers, and in some disrespect, but it's like the idea that like these authors, who are like who put in their like Twitter and Facebook profiles like dark fiction scribe, they come at it with such a high-handedness and such a like, oh, I write books and no one reads books anymore. But I think that's partly people using an excuse, because no one reads their books anymore. Like I think if you talk to people at conventions, like a lot of them are readers, but they're not avid readers, and they gravitate towards the more popular stuff. They gravitate towards the stuff they can find in Barnes and Noble. Like they're King and Kuntz fans, and as much as I love that stuff, you just got to find a way to reach people. You got to find a way to market yourself so that you're reaching the common reader, not just the hardcore has every ebook, has every Thunderstorm hardcover horror reader. Um, and I think that's the only way the scene's going to kind of grow and kind of break out of the scene is that you don't you can't just serve the hardcore readers because there's not enough of them.
Yeah.
And it's also the kind of easy marks. Like if you're going for someone that like buys every book and kind of seems to love everything and has a huge Goodreads account, as much as those people are like proselytizers and are kind of like the lifeblood of the scene, like it to me it's so much more impressive to be like, oh, I haven't read a book since high school, and you get someone and then they're sending you an email or a Facebook message a couple months later, like, hey man, like I bought a bunch of other stuff. Like, what else do you recommend? Like, it's like that seems like to me, there's your new reader. Like,
Yeah, there's no greater high, I think, man, than like getting someone who doesn't read to pick up a book that you've written or published, like at a random festival in your local town, or getting some kid who has no interest in reading and just talking to them, and then they go and beg their mom and dad to come buy this book for them.
yeah,
It's
no, I love
awesome.
it. It's yeah, no, it's yeah,
But
it's the thrill of the hunt, and that's what I enjoy.
and that's something I don't think I like with YouTube. You're reaching this whole new audience that I think most authors haven't really considered or they've shrugged off because I don't know, they're not willing to try new marketing outlets. But you seem to be doing pretty good with YouTube, man. Like I'm looking at the comments last night, and they're all just like they're praising the books you've written. They love the show you do. It's fantastic.
Yeah, thank you. And it didn't really. I don't know. You say like marketing, and I do think there definitely is an element of that to it, but I didn't. I was just kind of like, well, I need a place to talk about this stuff, and I'm on all the other social media, and Facebook I'm on less and less these days. It's like I need just a place to discuss with people and have some kind of like community aspect, and it just works. I mean, I do a little, I think my earlier videos are a lot heavier in like the like sales pitch of like, oh, I write books, but at this point I have my little spiel at the end that I like point behind me, and I'm like, sign up for my mailing list if you want to find out about my books. Here they are. Like, so I mean, there's like a small marketing component to it, but I think people have a very low quotient for they realize they're being sold something. So it's like I try not to come at least not anymore. Like I said, in my earlier videos it's kind of rougher, but I was figuring out what I was doing and what it is. But I think like now I barely do a sales pitch, and it's just I want people to enjoy me and enjoy the videos, and I feel like every once in a while, if I have a new thing coming out, I'll be like, okay, I'll start up front being like, this is the new thing. Like, but other than that, I try to keep the marketing stuff to a minimum. It's just, at that point, it's just natural. Like the whole thing's not a commercial, but it does feel like, well, I want people to know what I do. Like, I'm not as much as I love YouTube, I'm pretty far away, like, from like being a pro YouTuber, you know what I mean? Like, that's not going to be what I do full time unless I start, going down a real Alex Jones path of, of conspiracy theory and stuff like that. Like, I feel like that's the only way to really be successful. It's like, if I want to keep talking about, Spanish horror films in the 1970s that are recently on Blu-ray, like, I I want to do that as recreation, but I also want people to know, like, no, what I really do to pay the bills and
Yeah,
is
yeah.
is this writing thing. So if you guys like this, please support that kind of thing.
The videos you do, man, they come off as genuine. Like you're obviously passionate about the movies you're talking about, and it doesn't seem like, oh, I'm just doing this so I can sell you a fucking book. But yeah, the way you do the combination of the conversation you give about the movies, then at the end, and then the show notes, you just throw up a link. That's the best possible way you could be doing it, I think. Do
Yeah, and like I
you,
said, it was
yeah,
trial and error. So,
like anything, do you script these reviews ahead of time?
um, much to the chagrin of some people, not really. I will do for more complex things, for things where there's a lot of names, and for things where I've had either had to do a little bit of research. I will do an outline. and I kind of like just I print kind of like a 20 line outline, and then just tape it under the camera, like tape it. And so I'll basically have like a kind of teleprompter, but a lot of it's just a monologue. Like, I mean, I usually shoot, they're 10 to 12 minute videos. I shoot basically 20 minutes usually, and then I just cut down. Cause I do a lot of stammering, and I do a lot of like sitting there staring blankly at the camera while I like think of the next thing to say. So I try to script in camera, and I try to kind of edit in camera, where I'll basically know what material is usable and what material isn't. And because, like I said, it's not my full-time thing. I really do, when I make a video, it's like I kind of want to get back to work in some ways. So I try to make it as easier on myself as possible. I'll do a thing where I'll shoot 2 videos in a day. I'll just sit down and shoot 2 videos. I'll just switch my shirt like halfway through, and then I'll put them in iMovie, and just like, okay, well, I know there's a lot of dead space here. This has to go. I'll try to edit out all the ums, and then I'll have 2 videos. I'll have 2 weeks worth of content kind of in the kitty, ready to go. It's really all about streamlining and knowing that like I could. It's diminishing returns, because it's like I know a lot of YouTubers that put a lot of time into their videos, a lot of time in editing in them, and a lot of time in prepping them, and they really are great, and they really are fantastic. But to me, I know I like just riffing, and I know I like just talking. So I basically I know myself too. I know I'll get something usable if I just talk for 20 minutes and then cut it down to 10.
It's something entertaining though about how energetic you can be, like in the heat of the moment about the movie you're talking about. You know, like it doesn't read like, oh, this is what I typed last night, and now I'm just gonna read it word for word.
Yeah,
It's good.
I'm glad that comes off, because there's some videos where I'm like more successful at it than others. There's some videos where, especially early on, where people were like, and it's YouTube, so like a lot of the comments you're seeing are very nice, but like there are complete jerk offs. Like I mean,
Yeah.
it's as with anywhere, but like. So like I will get occasionally I will get like, spit it out, like, or like video doesn't start until 3 minutes in, but it's like, you know what, you're the one, pal, you're the one sitting on YouTube watching a 20-minute video. Like if you can't realize that like, oh, this isn't interesting to me, and just scrub ahead or just go to a different video, it's like, I don't know. I'm not that worried about quote unquote wasting anyone's time if they're going to be rude. In fact, if someone's rude and I've wasted their time, kind of a little bit, like I get a little thrill out of it. It's like, good. I'm glad you don't like me.
The podcasts I do this one now, and I also do Castle Rock Radio, and we upload them straight to YouTube as well. And yeah, people can be assholes, man.
Yeah, no, but it is the vast minority of people. It really is, and it's also just, yeah.
I was watching one of the videos. It was all the books he bought at a recent convention, and one of them was Cockblock by C.V. Hunt. And I noticed you cannot say Cockblock on your video channel.
That's good pickup. Very few people have picked up on that. It's funny because this was also that was like a year ago or so. But YouTube's kind of algorithm for figuring out for like demonetizing videos, for being like, oh, you can't put ads in front of this one because you
oh wow,
you used a bad word, or like you're talking about like subject matter that advertisers don't want on, because their transcription service is really good. Like you could watch most of my videos with subtitles on, and it's the subtitles are like 95% there. Like occasionally they'll get a word wrong, but like they are all subtitled. So it knows, like, as you're uploading it, it's scanning through and going like, well, what does he say in this? Like, and it decides whether or not to put, you can put ads on stuff. A few, I guess, like maybe a year or so ago, they've gotten a lot better at it. But a year or so ago, they had this whole kind of blow up where they were demonetizing like all the horror channels, because people were talking about horror. So they're talking about like gore and murders and things like that.
Man.
they weren't violent videos. Like they're just talking about movies, but like they would, just to be safe, like YouTube would demonetize them right when the videos are uploaded. And that's kind of when it's getting put into search and put into Google and stuff like that. So if you're demonetized for the first 48 hours, even if they reverse the decision, it really hurts the video. Like it really hurts the visibility of the video, and like, whether or not the video is going to have legs and be served out to more and more people. So people were kind of up in arms about that in the horror community. I don't know if that's kind of still going on. As far as I can only really talk about my experience, but as far as things have gone with my channel, like people are, or like the videos are a lot, they're going a lot easier on, like, I haven't had a video demonetized in probably like a year. But like you said, like for CV Hunt's Cockblock, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna edit the word just a tiny little bit so it doesn't seem like I'm saying that. Just because I didn't want the video to get caught in there.
I wonder how Amazon reacted to that book if they blocked it from some of the search engines.
Oh, I do wonder.
I bet they did.
You should have you had her on before? Have you had her on?
No, man, I haven't even launched the show yet.
Oh, okay. You
Yeah.
should. Yeah, I knew this show was newer, but I didn't know.
Yeah.
Because Castle Rock, you have guests on Castle Rock, right?
Yeah, I've done that for like 2 years now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to
So,
get on so I can ask mostly just about Cockblock.
she's awesome. And her books are awesome.
Yeah.
She's really cool. I know, and I know a lot of my friends, like basically like my main circle of friends, like all of them have books with Grindhouse, and they have nothing but nice things to say about them. So
I like the press. I like what she's doing.
yeah, her and Andy.
Yeah. So on YouTube, I notice everyone has at least one video where they open a box. You've done it multiple times, I've seen. How do I get companies to send me loot boxes, even though I only have a podcast?
I don't. I think just asking. I think
Yeah.
asking would work. And then you could just like rifle through some papers and be like, do an audio unboxing.
Okay.
I've only been sent. One of, like, because I do unboxings, but I think oh man, do you remember the name of it?
Fuck. No.
Uh,
I just saw it
it's
too.
not
It was
gonna.
a white
It's not
box.
gonna. 1 second. Let me actually go to my.
Creepy.
It's funny. Oh, Creepy Crate. Yeah,
Yeah.
Creepy Crate. Great product. But they had reached out to me and were like, "Oh, can we send you this?" And I was like, I think that was kind of the first thing. It's outside of like, book arcs, which you get requests for all the time. But like, outside of that, like they were like kind of the first people to like be like, "Oh, we'll send you stuff." And I was like, "Yeah, I'll open it up." So it was kind of like, I don't know. I tried to make it entertaining and was kind of upfront with like, hey, they sent me this. Like, this isn't. Do
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, I've done a couple more unboxings just because I wanted to experiment with the format. I just knew it was a popular format.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I'm not really sure.
Okay.
And the videos do fine.
Yeah.
I guess it's just like that kind of shared experience of like, I want to, like, this is a mystery and I'm going to experience the mystery with someone. Like,
It makes sense.
it makes sense, and it does like scratch a kind of itch, I'm sure,
Okay.
for people. I did like a full moon unboxing, but that was like a mystery box I just bought because I knew they were selling them, and I was like, you know what, I can subsidize this by like making a video out of it. And then I've done like unboxings of like Vinegar Syndrome stuff where it's like, those weren't mysteries. Like I ordered that stuff, so I knew what I was getting. So it's, yeah, I just mix up the format. And, I
Okay.
enjoy it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
What else some other YouTube channels like what you do you'd recommend?
There's a bunch, and they're all kind of like, once you kind of get into the circle, like you start like getting served these things. So there's like Rachel at Shades of Orange. She's kind of purely a booktuber. I like her a lot. Cameron Chaney, but I can't remember right now what his his channel's just called Cameron Chaney,
Nice.
spelled like you think it's spelled. But he's a YouTuber that's I mean, much more successful than me. He has many more followers than me, but he's been very nice.
He
like
sounds familiar. I think he
I
did
thought-
one for Bonesaw.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think he's reviewed you before, but he does a lot of book stuff. He'll occasionally do movie stuff. I get a little bit more of like a pure book YouTuber, and I think a lot like that's a lot of the people in the horror scene. They are mostly book YouTubers. Edward Lauren, there's other people that do it, but I'm the only person who's like banging my head against like I'll do both. Or that I can think of that mainly does movies and will occasionally talk books.
And that's why you are the most successful YouTuber.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's it.
What are you reading right now, Adam?
What's the name of it? In the Valley of the Sun.
Oh yes, I love that book. Andy
Davidson?
Davidson. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm really enjoying it. I'm really enjoying it. I'm really close to the end. I'm kind of. It's. I thought it was great.
I'm glad that it's making like a comeback because of the paperback that just was released. I love that book so much. I read it when it came out like 2 years ago. It's fantastic.
Yeah. I'm just getting around to it because my buddy, Pat Lacey. It's funny because like he had gotten, I guess when it first came out in hardcover. I guess he was just like, guys, you got to get this. You got to get this. And I finally am like, now with everyone talking about it again, I was like, I should. I bought the ebook right when the book came out, but I was like, you know what, I should probably actually read it now. It's good. I liked it a lot.
Fantastic. Okay, Adam, where can people find you online? Do you have a YouTube channel, maybe?
Yeah, so youtube.com/Adam Cesare. I'm sure it'll be spelled in the description of this podcast. And then adamcaesar.com and at Adam_Caesar on Twitter. So that's, yeah, find me on all that stuff, and I'd love to talk with you.
Thank you for listening to Ghoulish. Did you like what you just heard? Want to listen to these episodes daily instead of weekly? Well, you are in luck, Daddy-O, because over on Patreon we've announced a new stretch goal. Once we begin making 1,000 bones a month, we will begin releasing Ghoulish 5 nights a week. That's 1,000 bones, my sweet, beautiful, spooky children. Now go on over to patreon.com/PMM Publishing to pledge now, today, right this second, don't wait. You can also follow this show at GhoulishPod.com and tweet at us at GhoulishPod. Please rate and review us on iTunes, and do not forget, whatever you do, live spooky, die spooky.